Hey, what's going on, my peoples? What's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching CTM Sports. A lot going on this week. I just picked some of the stuff that's going on. So thanks for watching. Let me know what you think, and let's get right into it. Let me know what you think about Aaron Rodgers. Won the game against the Patriots, but it was the Patriots. Like the Patriots are good, but he won the game. Was it like 24 to something or something like that? But shout out to Aaron Rodgers, man, winning that game, because if he wouldn't have won that game, they would have just piled on him, man, the media. So shout out to Aaron Rodgers for winning that game. Second thing is Bryce Young was benched. Been talking about so much other stuff and meaning talk about this. Bryce Young was benched by the Panthers. They said he reported he's open for trades or fulfilling his rookie contract with the Panthers. Now, this is a multi-layered, kind of complicated situation. It's not just cut and dry. I think that you have organization dysfunction, whether it's the front office, ownership, because they've been through a lot of turmoil in the front office and with, I think, previous ownership. Another thing is, I think they got a new coach. That coach didn't draft him, so technically that's not his guy. Usually, when a new coach come in, unless the quarterback that good, they usually try to bring in their guys. And when you look at some of the plays, some of those picks he's throwing, it looked like he's throwing some good routes of the ball in good places, but the receiver, it's like they stop running and they just looking at the ball. Instead of trying to locate the ball and catch the ball, they just look at it go over their head and watch the dude pick it off. So it lets me know what is up with the players internally. Like, do they not like Bryce Young? Is there some kind of, is he getting preferential treatment? Who knows? But it's definitely some smoke in the city. I think I read a report right before I started. They said don't sleep on the Seahawks getting Bryce Young, and I could definitely see that because I think Russell Wilson was around that size of Bryce Young, and they built the offense around his strengths, and he really moved around in the pocket. He didn't really just stand up tall because they both not that tall. I think Russell Wilson can't be no more than 6 feet himself. And they said Bryce Young's 5'11". It's really not super tall, but it should be tall enough. Drew Brees did it. He's not that tall. But you have to move around in the pocket. I wonder who his OC is, too. Some offensive coordinators, in my opinion, they don't build the offense around the quarterback that they have. They just stick with their offense, and they're not as flexible to make things. Andy Reid, probably one of the most flexible play callers I've seen in my lifetime. He knows how to cater his offense to a particular quarterback that he had. He had stuff for McNabb. He had stuff for Alex Smith. And then he had astronomical stuff for Patrick Mahomes. But let me know in the comments what you think about the Carolina Panthers. Because I think Cam Newton was so good that a lot of those dysfunctional things was like kind of looked over. But if you really think about it, they really didn't give Cam Newton a whole bunch of help. I know they drafted Benjamin from Miami. Some reason he didn't pan out. And he never really had dominant kind of receiver like a Julio Jones or something like that. Somebody that he can grow with and throw the ball to. He always had a revolving door of receivers. And Steve Smith was a little older when he came. So he really wasn't like at the peak level of Steve Smith. He was kind of like at the peak, kind of declining, but he never really had that target that he could throw it to. He always had a revolving order of receivers. And that's very important if you want a quarterback to succeed. You have to get him like a Chase Young, a Chase or something like that, Jamar Chase. But a lot of teams don't do that. They spend a lot of money on one position and they just kind of fill in with other positions just so they can sell tickets and fill seats, I guess. But let me know what you think about that. Our next topic is Rose Wojnarowski retires from ESPN to be a college GM at St. Bonaventure, I think, St. Bonaventure College. The question is, what did he see coming down the pipe, or if anything, or what did he know that he's not seeing? They said he was estimated to make $20 million a year, something like that, from ESPN, or $20 million total contract. But what I will say is, most people just think about the money. How can you turn down that money? But the thing to think about is, if somebody pays you millions of dollars to do a job, they're pretty much buying your time. Like his phone probably always on, maybe two or three phones. He has to always talk to insiders, get information. That can be a tiring thing to do. Even on vacations, you probably got to look up stuff, be constantly researching and keeping up with things, keeping up with free agency. I mean, he dropped bombs after bomb after bomb of information, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on ESPN, the actual TV channel. And it has to take a toll on you at some point. Is he gonna make as much money as St. Bonaventure as he did with ESPN? Probably not. But it's probably he don't strike me as a guy that spends a lot of money. So I bet he probably invested and put up a lot of the money he got from ESPN. That's just my opinion. So this job with St. Bonaventure is probably a little bit more laid back, probably a lot less stress. And he went to school there. That's his alma mater. So, man, shout out to Woj, man. He said he wanted to get out the business. It wasn't working anymore to him. And then you got to think about this. I'm going to ask you this. Let me know in the comments what you think. Did Woj hold a grudge when ESPN suspended him for an email in 2020 where he emailed a senator and said some explicit or some colorful language? How about that? Use some colorful language to send to him, and he was suspended by ESPN for that. Do you think that kind of factored into the decision of him leaving? That and probably many other things? Or do you think it was time, he felt it was time for him to go to try new things because of the information business is kind of tough and it can wear you out. Always having to drop the first set of news before everybody else drop it. But shout out to Woj. Dropped a lot of information, a lot of jewels on us. All right, our next one is. This is an emotional pick. Let me know what you think. Randy Moss or Jerry Rice? Randy Moss or Jerry Rice? Randy Moss, tall and fast, and would catch everything. Jerry Rice was the most consistent. And he didn't have blazing speed. He didn't have blazing speed, but you never saw nobody catch him from behind. Very rarely, if they did. and depends on what area you grew up in, who you like more. I'm gonna go for the emotional pick, Randy Moss, but the more logical pick would be Jerry Rice. But when you see Randy Moss play, you realize can't nobody hold him. But just burning corner DB, they had to change coverages for Randy Moss. But Jerry Rice ran some of the best routes in that West Coast offense that you can run, and he was very reliable. Answered the call many a times. But I have to go with Randy Moss. 100%. I had to go with Randy Moss. So with that being said, will Stephen A. Smith a $25 million a year deal? He said he wants to be the highest paid sports anchor on TV. He saw the deal that Pat McAfee got, and we're gonna get into that in just a second. But does Stephen A. Smith deserve $25 million a year from ESPN? Now he has his own channel. He's growing his presence on that. Stephen A. Smith show promotes it when he's on ESPN. His podcast has his own studio, I think, or he's leasing it, but I think he has his own studio. He built. I think he said it's his own studio. He's slowly trying to build up. Let's get to the next slide. He's slowly building up his own media company. Shout out to Stephen A. for doing that, providing jobs for people. So the next slide is it dangerous to compare yourself to another person? Yes, it's very dangerous to do so. If you cannot compare yourself to another person objectively, don't do it. You have to be honest with yourself and say, this person is better than me at X, but I may be better than them in Y. Or you have to be able to talk to this person and kind of get an insight on what makes them good at what they do. Why are they so popular? And I'm still trying to do XYZ. Sometimes you don't know you don't know that a person is better than you at something until you see it or somebody tells you that. You just feel like you can do it better than them, but you find out you can't. This person may have an advantage that you don't have, and they may not look at you the same. That's just how the world works. Nobody looks at any two people the same unless you twins, but even then, they will have their own personality at some point. So, does he have a right to say that they should pay him the max? Let me know in the comments. The last topic of this podcast, sports podcast, is the community topic. Is jealousy an issue on all levels of life? Answer me that. Is jealousy an issue on all levels of life, whether it's corporate, your job, whether it's living in the community, whether it's financial, or whether it's racial? Some people you work with will be jealous of your skill set. Even though they had the opportunity to get the same skills as you, for some reason they didn't. But they will be jealous of your skills because you may be able to solve a problem without having to do all the research. You just know how to solve it. Some people have to do days of research and trial and error, then they figure it out. But what I would say is don't allow the banks, don't allow your ego to cause you to compare yourself to another person because it is very dangerous. And some people do that, but they glaze over that this person could actually be better than you in these certain aspects, then even if you can't even admit it, that person still could be better than you. So, be careful
ready to die
about comparing yourself to another person when you don't know their situation, you don't know how they got it, you don't even know what cost they paid to have that skill to be jealous of. Because when you focus on yourself, you focus on your health, you focus on your family, it's hard to be jealous when you're focusing on yourself as an individual. So with that being said, when you go into a community, jealousy can run real deep in the community. Real deep. As a matter of fact,
back to life, back to reality.
Some people will be jealous of you, they don't even know why. They'll be jealous of you. Why are you jealous of them for? I don't know, I just don't like them. As an individual, you have to watch yourself about being jealous of another person. You got to really think about what you're doing, guard your thoughts. I would say most people have went through it, whether good community, bad community, the community's in the middle. I think at some point, most people have dealt with jealous or been jealous of somebody, especially when you're younger. But as you get older, you realize that everybody has their own lane that they're in. And they stay in their lane, I stay in my lane, and that's why I operate in my lane. I can't compare myself to another person's lane or how they get down, especially as a man. I have to make my own path, and I have to live with the things that I do, whether I like them or not, and get better day by day without having to compare myself to another person. Now, it's good to look at a person or reflect on what they did, but I'm not going to compare. The next one is financial. Some people are jealous of your financial situation, but they don't know how you got there. And it's hard to focus on somebody else's situation if you're focusing on your own. You can't. It's like being double-minded. You can't. If you're focusing on somebody else's situation, that means you're losing progress in production, focusing on what another person's doing or another person's finances, something like that. So if another person is jealous of you because of your finance, you have to ask yourself, why is this person jealous? Are they jealous because they don't want to put in the work, or are they jealous because of whatever reason? But people be jealous about your financial situation. And the last one is racial. Everybody's not a racist, but there are people out there that's racial, and they definitely are jealous, biased. People still exist that are racial. And it's silly. It should be silly in 2024, but it's not a far-fetched idea that there are still some people out there that are racial, and they don't want to admit it. They're real, what am I trying to say? They're real covert about it. They're good at hiding it, but eventually it comes out. But jealousy is definitely an issue. Think about Malcolm X. That was jealousy. Martin Luther King. Envy and jealousy is an issue. Even now with the economy, with inflation, people still got the audacity to be jealous when everybody really trying to make it. But let me know in the comments, do you think jealousy is an issue on all levels of life? Let me know. And I'm about to get ready to sign out. What I want to say is, comment, let me know, hit the subscribe button, help us grow. Let us know what you'd like to hear us talk about, any kind of topic. Make sure to check out the Thinking Game podcast that comes out on Thursday at 6. We did it one a little later because I had to do some stuff with the family. But check us out. Check the channel out. Thanks for watching, and I'm signing out.